Welcome home.
All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the last episode 10 of the Busy Money Cast, the podcast for entrepreneurs. Today, we have a very special show. Backstage was just crazy, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start off like always. Big shout out, Howard's Blend, plant-based protein. Get yourself that plant-based protein. And also, don't forget, get a copy of the book Fear. All the proceeds from the book Fear gets donated to the Mary Kemp Foundation. And that money is then in turn given to teachers, after school programs, STEM initiatives, STEAM initiatives, now STREAM initiatives. So let's give back. The last thing we're doing is we're going to go over the rules. We only have 3 rules. Be mindful of what you say. What you say can get you and us kicked off the air, so we don't want that. And also be mindful of the background noise. So if you have any feedback, static, people running back and forth, be sure to, turn off your phones, turn those types of things off so that there's no interactions that get us kicked off, music, anything like that. With that being said, I want to jump right into it. Got a lot of guests today. So I'm excited about it. I'm ready to start bringing people on. So today we have a gang of professionals, people who've been doing this way longer than us. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna share their stories. We're working with podcasters today. Some of the best on Instagram and all their platforms. Will have them share that out. So without further ado, I just want to ask everybody a question while we getting set up. And I'm seeing everybody's getting set up backstage, so we're looking good. That being said, I wanna talk about our. Let me just make sure. I'm sorry. I want to see who's here. There's a gang of people, so we're gonna talk about our first interaction, our first guest, the first person, one of the first people that ever allowed me to share their platform, and y'all might know her. That's gonna be Nova. Nova, welcome.
I kind of forgot that I was coming on air still. Although you just told me, I'm like, wait, hold on, I'm coming on.
Yeah, welcome, Nova. What's going on?
Nothing much. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm like, look how the tables turned.
Right. Thank you for having us create a podcast. Nova's the one who runs the show. There is no podcast without Nova. We're gonna get into a little bit more about our history and whatnot, but I want to just try to bring everybody on so everybody gets some light. So next up, and I'm swiping through because I want to make sure we're doing this fair. Next up, we got my man Marlon.
What's going on?
Peace, brother. Marlon is one half of the Success Journey show. Ricky's coming on in a second if you can. It's a lot to get all these people together. They know this podcast life. So we're gonna talk about our interaction in a second. We're gonna bring out the next set of guests. We got hits.
Yes, sir.
Next up, y'all know the man, Howard from Howard's Blend.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good evening.
Welcome back. So we're gonna jump.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being with us. Next up, we got my man Marcus from the Transform You Media Network.
Peace, God. How's it going, brother?
Peace, brother. Thank you for being with us. And we're gonna bring you out in a second with some more. We got a gang of people with us tonight. Next up, my man Ricky. Not Marlon's Ricky, the next Ricky from the Inspired by True Events Network. Peace, brother. What's going on?
What's good, man? Just excited to be here, to show love, to show support to my guys.
Appreciate you, brother. We're gonna bring out the next. So next up was supposed to be Ness from the Dope and Damage podcast. Ness is overseas right now. They're dealing with some, a tough storm or whatever. So we're not gonna be able to see her tonight potentially, but we're still gonna shout her out. Dope and Damage podcast, and if she joins us, that'd be even better. All right, let's see who's next. Next up, we got two of the three gentlemen from the Never Famous podcast. Got my man Big Audi. And I got my brother Ronnie the Don. Peace, brothers. What's going on?
So, what's up? How you doing? We appreciate you. I'm saying, hitting us up, bringing us on.
What's up, y'all? My fault, I had my joint on mute. But yo, what's up, everyone? How y'all doing?
I appreciate y'all for being here. And then, last but not least, from Relic Media, my man Rel.
What's going on, man?
Peace, brother. What's going on?
A lot, man. A lot. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate this.
Likewise. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring everybody up at one time so everybody could join the stream. And this is the first time we did this. If y'all watch the show, y'all know it's always myself and one other person. It's about to be the Brady Bunch over here, so it's getting exciting. All right, boom.
Ryan, you see, no, we can't curse, bro. That was for us. You put that was the first one. That was for us.
Tonight we're gonna find out how many curses you could get away with on a live YouTube stream. They dropped us. Nah, yeah. There's this one joint. I don't know. It's on one of my people's page. I share it with y'all. Where every time you say something you're not supposed to say, you go. So you know what I'm saying, we're gonna make that popular. The song is alright, but the slang about it is pretty cool. So everybody's here.
That's good.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna go random and we're just gonna start talking and jump right into it. So let's go with Marlon.
Yes, sir.
Marlon, been on the show 3 times over the past 2 or 3 years?
2 or 3 years, yes, sir.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Success Journey show is all about?
Okay, so the Success Journey show was birthed actually this month, or December 5th will be 4 years we had our show. The show was birthed because we wanted to combat the concept that success is overnight. So we wanted to, hence the show the Success Journey show. So we just wanted to show people and bring people on, but we didn't want to deem what success is, because success is relative. So if somebody was a successful father and they feel that that's the success they wanted to obtain, we would bring that person on and we talk about that facet of their life. And we just wanted to show that the thing behind everybody is what we coined after we spoke to everybody. We coined our goals or our values, the quad Ds: dream, drive, discipline, and diligence. And we believe if you have those 4 things in any areas of your life, that you too can be successful. So that's basically our show. We just want to show people what it really takes to success in the time frame and what you have to really do, that hard work and discipline that it takes to be successful.
All right, thank you for that, brother. And I want to share that the dope thing about this show is that they really chronicle, like most times on the internet or whatnot, people have like that microwave answer, the shortcut. So I like that they actually chronicle different people's stories and whatnot. And that's why I was on the show so many times. You do like a year check-in almost.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the ill thing I love about this show. We're going to let's go with my man, Ricky. So Rick, I don't have a podcast. What y'all have?
A network.
Tell us about the network.
We started a network because we seen a niche in the market. Everybody creating podcasts is super saturated, and everybody's under the same umbrella of pop culture or current events. And we try to build a platform where you could go there and receive everything you're looking for on YouTube. You don't know how to cook, come to IBT Network, learn how to cook. You know, if you want to learn how to create a brand, you come to IBT Network, learn how to create a brand. You know, if you want to watch a sports show, you go IBT Sports. You know, stuff like that. And once you corner the market and you start your own that's where the money's at.
and that's such an ill concept. Rick and I met like it's like damn near going on 2 years almost now,
Yeah,
right?
2 years. Yep.
Almost 2 years, and then he allowed me the opportunity to share the platform, and I thought it was just such a groundbreaking concept. Then Stan, well, I have a show, I have this, that, and third. We got a network, and they have all the channels set up. So my man Rel, also from Relic Media, has multiple shows. But we talked about, bro, you want to go through all four? Or you want to go through the one we went through and then break it down?
Well, it's 6 now.
Every week this guy got a new show. They got the same. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's 6, and starting in probably February it'll be 7. But I realized a little while ago that YouTube was trying to get into the podcast game. I heard that they were giving out deals for individual, like people who only had audio podcasts. So they were trying to get people to come over to YouTube and give them, give visuals, right? So I had this idea. I was like, you know what? They were giving like a certain amount of money for individual podcasts, and then more money for the actual networks. So I said, you know what? Let me just get a network together so I can position myself once YouTube really decides to get into this podcast game. That way we'll already be there and we'll already be ready. So I got I started off with the Rorschach Test podcast. If you're not familiar with a Rorschach test, it's like the ink blots that therapists would show their patients, and they would ask them, what do you see? And then they would psychoanalyze them based off of that. So I show my guests these Rorschach tests, ask them what they see, and then based off what they see, I connect it to their passions and to what it is that they do for a living and who they are as a person. And then I have another podcast called the King's Lair podcast. It's me, 3 other guys. It's pretty much barbershop talk. I think that I think that YouTube is like pulling some of my views from that show, because some of the stuff that we talk about, look, I do the editing on that show, and especially this last show, I had to do a lot of beeps because, like I said, it's barbershop talk. So they, sometimes they say whatever, and then I have one called Now That's Debatable. And it's got 2 guys, and they will debate about any and everything with any and everybody. 2 very, very intelligent guys. And I got one called the Goddess and the Bruja. I got 2 women who are one's a goddess, one is a bruja, and they just don't hold anything back. Very, very in your face, just cutthroat. But it makes for good content. Then there is the Quotes and Mirrors podcast. That's me and my cousin. We break down quotes, famous quotes, not so famous quotes, original quotes. We just break down quotes. We talk about what the author meant when they first came up with the quote, and then we talk about what it means to us, from our perspectives. And then, am I leaving one out? I feel like I'm leaving something out.
It's a lot.
It is. In February, I'm starting a political podcast, but it's me, a Black Democrat. I have a guy who's a white man who's going to be a Republican. I'm not going to be. He is a Republican. We're going to get somebody else, probably an independent. But what we're doing is we're bringing people from different backgrounds together to have civil conversations about political things, things that affect us all. And we're going to do it in a way where it's not so divisive. I feel like I'm leaving out one of my podcasts, but I mean,
we'll get back to it. It's no problem. So next up, we got Audi and Ron. Philly Connects, 2/3.
Shout out to Philly. Shout out to everybody that support us, especially our Philly fans. I would say it's definitely one of our pride. I mean, one of my proudest moments, I guess you could say, when we hit that 1,000 on YouTube. Like that right there just actually gave us that spark. But me and my 2 good friends here, me and my man Ant, and Big Audi right here in the building, we connected. Actually, what makes it like almost 4 years now, Audi?
About to be 3.
3 years,
Yeah.
And it's crazy the way we connected, because we connected through my homie's aunt's cousin. Connected through him. We met first night, made the first podcast, and after that, we just been on a roll, and we just been kept bringing it up. We had 110 plus now.
Yeah, about to be like I think around there 110.
Yeah, so
I really got a
definitely.
question for them. I'm sorry that I throw it off a little bit, but I
Go
just
crazy.
like because that shit got to be hard. I ain't gonna lie, running like
Yeah,
multiple podcasts, multiple media. You know what I'm saying? Like multiple
it's
different
crazy
things. Because for us, it's tough. Like just one piece of
doing one.
content. Yeah, just doing a pod
Yeah.
is a lot. I see him smile. He like, yeah, it's just stressing me the fuck out. It gotta be, bro, because y'all talking so many different. Damn, that's a bleep. It's
Go for it. Go for
Say
it.
bleep,
Be
bleep, bleep, bleep,
yourself.
bleep.
my
Be
bad.
yourself. That's why y'all here. That's why hold up. Let me go. So Rel's show, I thought it was dope because it was an ill concept, right? So he was able to tie in the Rorschach test and we had a lot of fun on that show. I rarely like Marlon and I never met. Howard and I met once, or is it twice now? Howard, we met twice already?
Once in person, yeah.
Once in person. Howard came out to a workshop. Most of y'all I didn't meet. I knew Nova for damn near 2 years before we kind of like met in person, right? So with y'all being in person, being in the room, everybody play, and we chill for like an hour beforehand, so we just was all comfortable. I had so much fun. That was the like, and they like, I'm old. They didn't make me feel old. They made me feel young. But then I already started asking questions, and I felt old. Like, he was like, "Yo,
I be
my
thinking
mom
shit. I
was
be
telling me
asking
about
questions.
having a cassette player." I was like, "Oh." Nah, I love these dudes, man. Like, all right. So yeah, basically they just gave you an example of their podcast. That is their podcast. It's three dudes hanging out, having fun on the couch,
Yeah, it's
talk
that,
about
that
everything. Definitely check
cafeteria
this
talk.
out.
And,
Hilarious.
and even then, we talk like an hour before the pod. We spend like an hour and a half on the pod, and then we probably spend like an hour, almost 2 hours after the pod. Like we was there for hours, just dropping gems,
Yeah,
giving us a bunch of game.
talking.
So we appreciate that for sure.
Nah,
Sure.
yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to come out there again and we do that. So back to networks. Marcus has a Transform You Media Network. Marcus, you want to tell us a little bit about Transform You?
What's going on, God? I made sure that I pulled over so that I don't get caught up in the wind. But the Transform You Media Network, it actually started from 20. It's 20 different podcasts right now. It was a time when we was partnered with about a total of like 3 other podcast networks. Since then, I kind of downsized the partnerships right now for now, and we still partner with another network that kind of branched off from us on the World of Ability Network, which they particularly specialize in like disability advocacy. That and Our network started about 7 years ago from one podcast on my first podcast, um, which is a Transform You Live show. It's the longest running podcast on our network, and the network grew from that podcast. Once that podcast gained a lot of popularity over the years, and just from the name of the network, it's kind of hinting that like we're talking about life transformation, business transformation. We're in the personal development space. So a lot of the guests that I bring on 4 of my shows that I host personally, I'm looking to pull a lot of like how their lives been transformed over the years and in different parts of in different chapters of their lives, and how they were able to pivot in different transitions, and how they took some of that experience and became successful. Because I myself, I'm coming from like a background of PTSD and other mental illnesses. I find it hard to kind of transform and transition back into civilian life after the military. So, I try to look for similarities and in all of the guests that we bring on, and we advocate for a lot of the mental health uh, topics and whatnot. But we big on entertainment too. So I got a couple shows that's entertainment based and music based, and and some some politics. So we put a little bit of politics in there, but we still bring it back home to the personal development.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And that was what was dope about doing Marcus's show. So some of y'all that I met recently, it was kind of real estate conversations. 2 years Fear, the book is about to be 2 years old or just made 2 years. So there was a time when we were talking to everybody, kind of like getting on the show, talking about the book or whatever. And Marcus was one of the people where I did his show, and it just like kind of like blew my mind. It was like so cerebral. And I thought that most people were everybody kind of had like a niche kind of conversation. His show seemed very spiritual, and he seemed like he was really about what he was doing instead of like kind of like just doing a podcast. It seemed more genuine, and then to see everything else the network was doing. So that's so big ups for that. So we're gonna move on to Howard. We're gonna close with Nova, and then we all gonna start talking. That's where the fun should start happening. So Howard.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, it's a pleasure to be on with all you guys and gals doing great things. And my name is Howard Blend, and I have a podcast called Howard's Blend. And my protein powder is also called Howard's Blend, plant-based protein powder. I've been podcasting for just under 3.5 years, right around there. It was 2019 when I started. Hussain was one of my first guests that I had on. That's how we met on IG. The podcast has evolved. At the moment, what I'm focusing on is using it as a way to document my journey of starting and scaling the supplement company, and putting it in the vein of, so if anybody wants to, thank you. If anybody's looking at starting a supplement company and they're not really sure what to do, in a way, providing like a roadmap for them, just to everybody's journey is different, but to give them a roadmap if they're not sure where to go. Also, I do in detail episodes on supplements. So anybody looking like, I'm not sure what this supplement does, then eventually I'll have a podcast on it. So then you can always use it as a encyclopedia of sorts for any knowledge you want on supplements. So that's it. Thanks for having me on. Thank you very much.
Oh no, of course. I did Howard's show, and I felt like I had to do research to talk about my topic. He had so many questions, and it was so in depth, and I was like, man, I don't know if we might need to edit this one and shoot this joint again. But how is the man? Thank you for that, Howard. And I mean, I wouldn't promote the protein so hard if I really didn't enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. Y'all want samples? Let me know. We still got a few free samples left to send them out. So Nova, last but not least, what's going on with you? Talk about it.
Well, I don't have a podcast anymore, but I guess what you want me to just kind of tell you what my podcast used to be about?
Yeah, or we could transition to it. Let's take that opportunity to transition, because there's a lot of people that I did interviews with, and I did reach out to everybody, and they no longer have a podcast. I don't want to do a podcast anymore. So everybody's laughing because they know. So Nova, tell us about the podcast we met on, and then tell us what you're doing now, or maybe why you're no longer doing that podcast.
Okay, so I started off in radio, and from radio I transitioned into podcast. I was doing this like from 2017, before podcast was the podcast thing to do. And then when I did do the podcast, H was one of my first guests that I had on my podcast, and that's how we met. And that was probably one of my best interviews that I've done. And then I stopped doing podcasts because, one, it was just becoming like a job. It was just, I don't like to feel like something is a job. I want to have fun while I'm doing it. I want to be creative. I want the creative juices to flow. Once it starts to feel like a job, I start to just like, nah, it's not for me. And then also it was just the fact that I didn't feel like I was getting the listeners. It just became very discouraging. So I kind of just, pushed that aside and was like, you know what, I'm gonna close this chapter. I kind of sometimes feel like I should have just continued, because now with the surge of podcasts and stuff, I think if I had just stayed consistent, I probably would have been growing by now, but it's okay because now I transitioned into producing for the Busy Money Cast. So yeah, I'm here now. I transitioned into Bossler, so this is like my brand now. It was Rebel Radio Connects, that was the podcast, and now I'm a Bossler, a boss and a hustler put together. So that's like my brand and what I'm doing now. So yeah.
So just this won't be a show of hands, and then we jump into anybody can answer. Who here at one point or another said they didn't want to podcast anymore? All right.
Second the motion.
So let's go, Marlon. Marlon, this is year 4, right?
Yeah, year 4.
How do you stay consistent, bro? Like, I'm done.
So it's crazy too. Let me tell you, and I don't want to. Everybody that I'm not bragging. So I know everybody that wants to brag always says I'm not bragging. Then they say something crazy, and then they're like, "Yo, you're bragging, bro." So Ricky and I, our show, it's 8:30 at night on the East Coast every Monday. We do our recording, and then the show airs on Wednesdays. The reason why we stay consistent and we love it, what happens is we use it to build the podcast is a vehicle that we've been using, because once we started the podcast and we were bringing on the people, we started to make connections such as yourself. And what happens is that we kind of use it as a selfishly to say, okay, if we meet somebody that's doing a particular business, we'll partner with them and do that business with them. So the podcast has been paying a lot of dividends in the sense of, I used to do real estate before, but we met you, and it took us about 2 years to do a business deal, right? Where I never met Hussain before, and can I say money numbers on here? And
go crazy,
and I wired him $100,000 to do a business deal. You understand what I'm saying? So that was crazy. And then we just had launched. We have something called the Hit Doctor. It's a baseball apparatus that help kids training, and we have that. We also have a development company that does websites, build apps, and everything. And only because we were doing our own production, and somebody said, "Hey, who built your website? Who does your production?" And we're like, "We do." And people needed that service, so we went ahead and did that, right? So that's how we stay consistent with our show, is because we selfishly, honestly, we use our show to motivate ourselves to keep on going on the business tip. And
I would say I agree to that, because when I started my workshop during the pandemic, I kind of was doing that selfishly to kind of grow my network, to tap into like those industry professionals, and like really have a segue to contact them and say, "Hey, I have a podcast. I want to talk to you," and kind of pick their brain and then try to nurture the relationship from there.
I'm gonna say this: everybody, turn your mics on. Like this, let's chat. That introduction, nice. Let's do it like this. And then for y'all in the crowd, if y'all have questions, try to get a question in. It's 9 hosts up here. Try to get a question in.
I will say this too. I feel like being a podcaster, if you have a co-host, your podcast is as strong as your co-host too. Like if you don't have a supportive co-host, it's just like your show's gonna fail. That's just me. I personally feel that way.
Yeah,
that's probably
go. Go.
No, I was gonna say I agree, but I mean probably agree. I don't know, I haven't gone through that, but for us, I feel because we all have, I feel like we all in the same, like, got each other back or whatever. We don't really got that problem. Our should be a little more when it's 4 people trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to all put our vision in the one thing. That's something that's a little harder for us. So I don't know how it is for y'all. Like I got multiple podcasts, I got multiple media. I don't know how it is if y'all the only ones that make the final decision. But like on our show, everything it's split 4 ways. So I'm saying the decisions of whatever we do is split 4 ways. So that's what makes it harder for us. But the consistency just off the love of this shit. Just like I love doing this shit.
And then
it's a lot easier when everybody has the same goal. You know, everybody is focused on the same goal. We all may have different ways of getting there, but when everybody has the same goal, then it's easier to try to figure out. We have to make sure that that's our common ground right there. You know, I did radio before I got into podcasting. I was in radio, And the very first radio show I had, man, there was a lot of bumping heads because there wasn't the same goal. It wasn't the same goal. And then everybody wanted to be the A mic. I mean, it was, you know, there was a lot of learning that needed to, you know, all of us were new to it. All of us were new to it. And then the people who wanted to be the A mic the most, they sucked. Hey, we can cuss, right? I mean, because I know
let's see. We'll find out.
Fucking sucked, okay?
Right.
Testing YouTube.
Let's see what YouTube says. YouTube might stop us, but we'll find out.
We curse all the time on IBT Network. We good.
Yeah. Us too. So yeah,
y'all actually have a popping show. That's why they let it go because people watch it. so Marlon touched on something. Pause. Y'all could.
I'm gonna be honest.
I was going to do it, but I didn't want to hit you up, my dude.
Nah. We're gonna have fun. Marlon brought up. Can I say that? Marlon made a statement concerning finance and capitalism, and a lot of people. Well, I shouldn't stereotype, but I think it's a fair stereotype. Where generally speaking, people feel like they're gonna get into podcasting. I'm not gonna say nothing else. They get into podcasting, or they want to go viral, or they're trying to hit 1 million subs or whatever. And there's this to me, there's a misconception that, you know, you do a show and it's not popping if there's not 1 million views, 1 million likes, 1 million whatever. And for me personally, like Marlon said, I think maybe we have one show that broke 100 views. This is our 10th show, so we'll say 800 views in total. Probably the same people watching, so maybe 70 people, right? I really like math, so maybe 70 people. Out of the 10 shows, I got like 8 or 9 clients.
Yeah.
That's
what it's about.
Hey, we do $100,000 transactions with some of them, and just to wrap up what Marlon said before, it took us 2 years to do our first deal. After we did our first deal, how many deals we did in this year?
We did 3, and that's 100,000 every time or more going to you. You know what I'm saying? So, and the returns, I'll tell you, the first return was crazy. I'll tell you that we took, because I have that. No, I took it off my board now, Hussain. I took it off the board, but we made 30,000 each. Sorry if the IRS comes for you after I said this,
right?
But we made 30,000 each after 60 days with that deal. 61 days. It took 61 days. We made 60-something thousand. We busted down the middle. Pause. And right. And it was 61 days. So after that, I was hooked. I looked like Pookie. I was like, man, yo, Hussain, man, when are we gonna do another one?
Yeah. And then the market start doing this.
Yeah.
Our last deal still made money.
Yeah, we just
not where we.
Yeah. But we know the deal, and we closed on that one. What was 2 weeks ago? We made some money off of that. So it's all fair and love. You got to take. We didn't take an L. We didn't make as much as we wanted to, but we still made money. You know what I mean? And my bank account thanked you for that. You know what I'm saying?
So money. I'm not trying to count your bank account. Is anybody monetized, or is anybody, or like we know Marlon made money off that? Howard making sales and growing the business off of the podcast, right? Anybody want to share their opinion on that, or is it about money, or are you getting checks, or you don't have to share the amount, nothing like that? Anybody go crazy, go.
Well, IBT Network, we offer live streaming, so if you have any sports events, we live stream it. We made a pretty penny off of it. And we not monetized on YouTube. It was just off the merit of we just working. We just connected with people, rubbing elbows, and we offering the services we have. We had an entire production team, that goes in, does the live stream, and we just sit home and produce it.
Yeah, he's smiling. He's making some money.
Rick, actually, when Nova and I started, I reached out to Rick, I reached out to Ronnie, Audi. Yo, how do you do this? I reached the Howard. How do you do this? How do you do that? What is this? What's that? The best mic, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? So that network is what really makes this thing worthwhile. Anybody, and welcome Marcus officially. He just got to the studio. He was in transit.
Oh, what branch of service is Marcus in? What were you in? Army?
Yeah, I was in the Army.
We won't hold it against you. I'm still in the Marine Corps, all right?
Okay.
Hey, he understands that we got a brotherly rivalry, all right? We love each other, but I'll talk about him, but you ain't gonna say nothing to him because we're gonna attack you too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man.
We call you when we need your help.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we'll stay off of that.
When we need your help.
So shout out to Clarity. He just posted a comment, so I want to give them a shout out. Clarity, you want to join, bro? Good. We'll send them the link. Nova, if you want to send them the link. So the first ever podcast, it was actually a show, the first ever show podcast that I ever did as Hussain Abdullah on behalf of HAHOMES was a show called FRP TV, and I did reach out, and then after the fact realized that obviously the show is not still on the air, so nobody tended to that Instagram. But Clarity was one of the producers of that show, so he wasn't one of the hosts, but we actually connected on the show, and I ended up, they liked the content so much, we ended up doing something called Get Into the Bag, where it was going to be a segment on their live show. So I want to shout him out and also thank them for giving me the first opportunity. But let's get into it. So anybody want to share like the craziest or a crazy show, host, guest, anything production wise? Anybody? What's one of the craziest things that happened to you putting together a podcast?
The very first interview I did was with my buddy Stefan. So he used to live in Hollywood and working for the movie studios and stuff. He's a screenwriter. So I interviewed him, went through the whole interview, and I thought I knew everything. Went to go edit the interview and found out that only one microphone was recording the whole time. So I didn't have it set up. It was only going to I thought, oh man, it's going to record both of them, but no, it only records one channel unless you have some equipment to enable you to record multiple channels. So thankfully he came back on, but and it lost kind of the magic because now I kind of knew what he was going to say. So
yeah,
lesson learned.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really got a crazy. I wouldn't call it crazy, but I would call it dealing with crazy people. I tend to deal with a lot of publicists a lot because I get a lot of guests sent my way, and I had I'm not even going to say who the guest was because I don't know who might go back their way, but I had a publicist send me a guest, and they didn't send me no questions or anything. They just sent me bio, picture. That's it. And so I go into the episode doing it my way, and the guest is loving it. At the end, I put it up, and then he tells me a week later, take it all down. I don't like it. It was horrible. You're making us look bad. And I'm like, but he enjoyed it. So that happens. That can happen to you. So be on the lookout for stuff like that. Because that can happen. And I think that happened to me about 3 times. Dealing with a publicist.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll say that. Hey, before I know you're gonna do it, and I'm a host. I'll let you do your thing, man. It's your show.
I'm trying to learn from y'all. The reason why this video is here is so season 2 could be good. You got it.
Hey, check it out. It's my brother from another mother. I met this dude for 25 years ago. We did a lot of things up in the NYC, and my co-host Ricky Venters.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing, man?
What's up?
Peace, brother. What's going on? Who else was gonna bring Ricky out better than Marlon?
No, I ain't gonna hold you. That was top tier, yo.
What show are we out to?
Appreciate you. Hey, crazy show. Ricky, I know Ricky. Hey, Rick. So we have Rick, and then we have Ricky. All right.
Yeah.
Or we could say light skin Ricky and whatever. All right, whatever. All right. So check it out. So we start when we started our show, we were strictly audio. You know, we started a podcast 4 years ago. It was heavy, but it wasn't as saturated as it is now. And because of the pandemic, we know that a lot of people did video. That's why we came to video mainly also. But back then we did audio, and we're using the platform Anchor. And we were interviewing a guy from Oman, the country Oman. And I guess his internet over there sucked. So it was choppy. So what we did was we sent him the questions. He answered the questions. And then when we did the fix the audio, we would ask the question and he would come on. So Ricky did that production. I know that was crazy for him. And this guy was answering the question, like he'll read the question and it was dry, man. If you go back to that episode, that dude was like, how do you like being a film writer? So I was a film writer and oh my goodness, that episode sucked. But it's all good.
All right. Listen, Audi Irani, be yourself. Be yourself.
Nah,
I feel like I was talking a lot.
Nah, be yourself, man. That's why you're here. Be yourself.
We had a guest that wanted to come on so bad. Like, I'm talking about so bad. Like, this guest kept hitting us up about going on. We finally let her go on. This episode never came out. Like, that's how that shit went. It was so crazy. Like, it was amazing. Like, I couldn't believe it. She came on and on the podcast, the way she was answering things, she was acting like she didn't want to be there, acting like it was like she was too good for like the time. I'm just like, yo, you hit us up to be here, and we was asking like normal questions. Like, there's some crazy ass answers. Like, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes.
Yeah,
but
she was wilding.
Yeah,
she got some crazy answers.
Like some crazy answers that I was.
But
her boyfriend came with her. It was just crazy. It was crazy.
I kind of want to see the episode now.
I'm still waiting for my.
I know. I want to see it too now.
Yeah, you gotta air it.
I know, right? We gotta drop that.
We should drop it. But it was so early and like our whole setup different. The way that we talk is like it's a complete. It's probably would have been episode like 15, 20, something like that. It was super early in the game. So
yeah, but we ain't watching for that. We want to know what she did. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, you don't want to know what she did. That shit was crazy. Where her like Ron said, her man was on the other side of the camera. Like that shit, it was crazy.
Oh, and she was really just wild and like telling us about shit that she was doing, but like her dude right there and talking about shit in the past, talking about like it means just getting ran through, and I'm just like, yo, like what is going on? Like Jeepers Creepers, like it's crazy.
She was giving it up like that.
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
That's their show though. That's why I have fun. I'm gonna say one other thing. Like Ronnie could say any sentence in slang, and like I'm like, that's a slang. Like is that only in Philly? Listen, with Ronnie, I'm gonna put you on the spot, but I love it. That sounds like I'm out the game. I know I'm old. Ronnie was like, that bull's 30, and I was like, word, 30 is a slang. I'm still in like Wu-Tang slang. Like, no, does cash still rule everything?
Oh shit!
What's the hard? All right, anybody? Like Rick, I haven't heard from you about or Rel or whoever.
And Rick, you want to get your episode soon, bro?
Yeah, I gotta pull up. We gotta collab,
bro. We gotta collab. We got to.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I got a crazy story. I got a crazy story that hasn't happened. I stopped it from happening. So actually, the next person that I'm interviewing, she's I think she's out the game, but she was a stripper and was trying to get in. And, yo, hey Marlon, I saw your eyes light up, though. So
yo, we got a story about. I got a story about that.
But she said she was like, "Can I get naked on the show?"
Patreon.
I was
thanks.
Patreon. I said, "Nah, you can't." I said, I said, nah, you can't do this. It's gonna be on YouTube. She was like, oh, okay, all right. But I stopped it from happening. But I mean, that show probably wouldn't have come out. I mean, not on YouTube anyway. Not on YouTube. I would have had to send you the secret link for that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put you on the stand, but I don't want to put your business on the street, man.
Hey, no, I'm good.
Anybody? That's why I was waiting for this show. All the different people in one. Yeah. Anyway. One of the hardest things about being a podcaster, anybody or everybody can answer that one. Anybody, but Rick,
content, people,
production,
editing,
Yeah, especially if you're on your own. If you don't have a solid team, consistency. Because there are many days where I'm like, yo, I don't even want to do this. Like tonight, we got people booked out, for months in advance. And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, can we just cancel this person tonight, man? I just want to chill, But then Marlon, I'll be talking to him, like, oh yeah, we ready, man. Let's go, man. We got this podcast. I can't. I got to come with the energy now. And then vice versa, right? I'll be calling Marlon. Marlon's like, yo, I'm cutting my grass. I'll be there in like 10 minutes. Man. So it's like, if it was me by myself, my podcast would have been done probably like 6 months in. Like I know by myself I'm not consistent, but having that partner, someone to hold you accountable to it, man. I know I just knowing me myself, man. That's the only reason that I'm able to keep moving this thing forward. That
goes back to what I was saying with like having a strong co-host and a partner with your podcast. Like your co-host or your partner, whoever you're doing it with, it's a reflection of like how successful your show is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Shout out to Lawrence Elliott. He's another co-founder of IBT Network, and he's probably the most consistent person I know, man. And if it wasn't for him, we probably would have been shut down by now. Because like life happens, like everybody go through life.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the hardest part. You will put life as a priority before a podcast or anything you're trying to build.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who has that consistent partner or co-host or co-founder.
What's his name again?
Lawrence Elliott.
That boy has a famous name, bro. Lawrence Elliott.
Right? Tell him. Let him know. Yo, he watching right now. You know what I'm saying? See? That's 2-6. Yeah, man.
Yeah. What episode, like, real quick, just what episode, and if you got 20 shows and you can add them all up. Like, how many shows, like, I know, Ronnie, y'all like 108, 110. Yeah, you said 110 is coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what 2-3 years in the tank on the show.
Yeah, we take a little breaks, but it's about almost 3 years. Yep.
Yeah.
Rick, where you at?
We had 273 total videos on our network. Yeah.
But
that's everything though.
That's everything. That's sports. That's which is dope because y'all have a strong team. Because it's like certain people speak on this show, certain people speak on that show. Howard, where you at? Podcast number wise.
Man, I stopped counting them, but it's over 100. So probably between 100 and 110.
Marcus,
and that's being inconsistent.
Yeah. So the Transform You Live show alone got almost 350 episodes, and then if I was to add everything, probably somewhere close to like 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, he got a network with.
Wow.
How do you sleep?
Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff.
How many do you drop a week for? How many episodes?
At least about 7.
Oh.
I mean, that's just from me. That's from me alone.
Damn.
Like 7 alone. I'm recording 7 by myself alone. And then everybody else, like I lost count because I got managers now.
You going crazy?
Hold on, I told you, real. How many shows you had?
I'm at 107, man. But you should have asked me that before you asked him.
Right?
Hey, T, I'm here thinking like, man, we at 180, 167, 180. I'll say it last.
I'm at Cinco. Like, yes. I'm at 9.5. The show's not even over yet. Like, so, it's we
gotta
good.
remember though, I'm an OG in this game though, man. And then I was incarcerated for 4 months. And I was listening to Nova. She said she quit. I was like, man, like when I was locked up for them 4 months, right before I got locked up, that's when I wanted to quit. And then when I got locked up, I was like, man, I wish I was podcasting.
Wow.
And then as soon as I got out, I got right back on it. And that's when I formed the network about a couple months later. So yeah, like when you love something.
I got a question for you.
Go crazy. Go ahead, Rick.
No, Nova, you first.
Go ahead.
Okay, so like, and this is for all of you guys who have networks. How do you manage like the others who have shows? Like, how do you keep the standards up? Because like when I heard my radio, like
contract.
when I heard my radio, the other shows didn't keep the same standard of quality that I was looking for. I guess that's the best I can put it. So how do you manage that?
Over the my network only been alive about 2 years. So over the 2 years, I didn't kicked off. I literally kicked off like three shows. So like and then all the rest, like it took me about like 6 months to come up with a system. I had to look at what works for my show. I said, okay, this is what works for me. This is my system. So I need to make a system that's like kind of standard across the whole network. And then I had to train like 3 individuals. I broke it down to 3 individuals. Like some what we do in the military.
I was saying it. All you're saying, I'm hearing military.
Yeah,
that's what we
military. Did. Basically, so like I just duplicated myself. Like I found three solid people that I knew that could like learn from me, and then just like look like be a mini me. Watching over everybody else. And then they check in with them every week. And then everybody have a coaching session with me like at least once a month. And then I have a full network meeting once a month.
But let me ask you this.
Platoon.
Are you paying these people to like do these jobs, or are they doing it because they love to do it and you're giving them an opportunity?
So like initially I was spending out a lot of money, more than what I was making in, because I had a whole bunch of VAs, virtual assistants, like for each area, production, for marketing, so like they was being spoiled. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, the hell with that. Like, no, everybody's about to learn production, everybody's about to learn marketing, everybody's about to learn content writing, everybody's going to learn everything, saying, because if I know it, why can't you learn it? So I shrunk down like, my virtual assistant team, down to like just 2, so I got two virtual assistants that like kind of float around and like help here and there with like some of the additional stuff. And then everybody else, they're doing all the same thing that I do, and then my managers are just making sure that they're doing it right.
Okay.
You got to have all this shit in writing.
Yep, contracts. Everybody
whatever you do, if even if it's just you right now, you only got one show. Even if you just 3 episodes in, whatever, write down your process.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it like a business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's huge.
Yeah. Yo, for me, Nova, I look for certain personalities. I'm really, really big on matching personalities with concepts and shows. So that's how I'm able to keep things going, because I know that this personality works for this show and this personality works for this show. So we don't really, interchange things. I'm not going to bring somebody. I'm not going to have a bird trying to teach a fish how to fly. You got to make sure that everybody is in the right lane. So and then in addition to that, just making sure that I have people who I know are driven and they're going after. Remember what I said earlier about everybody having the same goal, So I have a really strong team, a really, really good and strong team So I'm able to like I don't like micromanaging. I want to sit back and let people do their thing, you know, and I put people around that, you know, I don't have to micromanage. So and it makes it easy. It makes it real easy for me.
Important.
Man, I wish I knew you guys a couple years ago.
But you know them now.
We always start over.
Listen, we in the room with a bunch of podcasters and, you know, creators. We ain't having this. This is all network right here, so it ain't too late at all. So,
Yeah. And there was a question about the links. Everybody's link, Instagram, all that is all gonna be in the links. I'd rather write it up and then you could go see that. Plus, I'm gonna tag everybody on Instagram and everything. Then waste 5 minutes saying they links.
Yep.
Like, let's get
Make
back.
sure
Let's
you
keep
like
it
the
to the
video,
content.
too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Let's keep it to the content. You know, everybody will be able to connect. But that. Thank you for that question though. That's one of Howard's peoples from the 5 Deep podcast, a brother of a certain age, another podcaster. We limited to 10 people in here. Else we have like 15 to 20 people in here. So we might have to do part 2 or something with some more experience. Maybe we'll do this as a routine. Close every season with just more podcast gems because I learned so much.
I love this. Yeah.
Or in person.
I like
Or in person. Who said that?
Rick, me.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Rick.
Y'all on the East Coast. I'm always on the East Coast. And ain't nothing for us to link up. We find the city. Howard, I'll take you with me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, I've never.
I think what's going on in Orlando.
I've only been to Washington D.C. That's the only thing I've been on I guess close to the East Coast.
Nah, we'll get you. They right there. We can go to D.C. We can do
So we're gonna do a live show next year. We're gonna do a live show next year.
That'll be dope.
Yeah. Let's speak that into existence. We'll do that.
I would
you know
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
I'm there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and next year I'm gonna have sorry to interrupt. Sorry about that. You know, next year I'm gonna have a podcast cafe. So like, I'm in Milwaukee. So like, you know, feel free to come by.
I always wanted to visit Milwaukee.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go up there.
I never heard nobody say that.
I never heard nobody say they wanted to go to Milwaukee.
Me neither.
First, I heard that.
Hey, the Bucks, bro. The Bucks.
No, Club 157 is a podcast with all the founders of my network. And we started off on Zoom, and then we became a traveling pod. So we went to Vermont. Like, nobody want to go to Vermont. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the middle of the summer. Like, what's up there? Like, you know what I'm saying? We up in the hills, it's just chilling. We went down. We just traveled to we was in Harrisburg in the Poconos. We went to the Poconos. We was in the cabins, like just traveling. You know, so we definitely traveled to Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole gang would pull up.
Yeah, Clary just said, are we gonna have an HM for sure? For those of you that don't know, we got right now, like maybe I put it up on IG tonight so I can see. We got the commercial space right now. It should be ready in a week or so. Holds almost 100 people, so you're gonna see a lot more content as part of the shift that I'm doing with my coaching, mentoring. Like there'll definitely be a place to come out. So we'll find a city, and we'll definitely put something together. We had 58 minutes. We wanted to keep it to an hour. It flew by. I think we do 2 more questions, and I think that'll round us out. And so unless y'all have a question, I know what my final question will be. Anybody have anything? So what I wanted to do actually before we go to a question, anybody, or we could go one at a time, however y'all want to do it. Anybody have a gem or some information or something that they want to share for people who are doing a podcast now or want to be a podcaster? I think that's my second to last question.
Oh, go ahead. Whoever that is. Sorry.
What I would say is don't think too much about it. Talked about it when Hussain interviewed me a few weeks ago. What is it? An analysis paralysis or paralysis by analysis, whichever you want to say it.
Right.
He said that shit to me too.
Yeah, just if you watching and reading videos, reading stuff, that can only take you so far. And there's just general information that is common among all those. Just start it and then learn as you go. Yeah, I just gave the example of interviewing my friend. Learn as you go. Experience is the best teacher.
I would say consistency is key. Don't give up. Don't look at the viewers because that will come. And don't have imposter syndrome. Know what you know. Your content is your content. Your creativity is your creativity, and there's only one of you. So just stay focused on what it is that you want to do, and don't give up. Don't be like me.
Nah, but that
I don't feel like that.
nah,
You
nah,
producing that.
hold up. No, you know what's dope about that? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let everybody go. Nova interviewed me 3 times for 3 different shows. Over 3 different. So, and when I say this as a coach, and Nova knows I tell her this, and maybe I said it to some other people. You gotta stay focused on one thing at a time. Too many people they want to jump on the next. I'm gonna do Turo. I'm gonna do Airbnb. I'm gonna go crypto. I'm gonna do stocks. You can't do the next hottest thing. You gotta find your lane and stick with that. That'll be my gem, and I'll be quiet. But don't beat yourself from that. Learn the lesson, and then just don't duplicate it. Or if you look at the setup of the show, if you look at the pace and the time of the show, it is basically a lesson plan. Marcus used his military background and he set up his structure and he found success. Marlon used his same industry inside information with Ricky, and then they made a model where it builds their business from the podcast. Rick is interested in what he and you know, Audi and them, and everybody stayed in their lane, and that's why they have 100 or so shows and they have success. My format is a lesson plan. It's 50 minutes a show, give or take 40 minutes a show. I do an introduction. There's independent practice, and then we wrap it up. I just did a lesson plan. Do what you know, stick with it, you'll find success.
It's true.
Yep, it's a fact.
I like that.
And you'll find your audience. Right? You know, don't try to cater to everybody that's out there. And most of the people that are on your current Facebook, social media, Instagram, they're not going to be your fans. All right? Don't count on them to be your advocate. It ain't gonna happen, right? You're gonna find a whole new audience, a whole new group of people that are gonna love your voice for what it is and support you and take you to where you need to go. So yeah, just be true to yourself in that.
I would say just to find your niche market and run with it. You know, corner the market and like make it yours. No matter what happens, just make it yours. You know, that's my advice to anybody that's creating a podcast or a network, because it's obtainable. You know, anybody could create a network, anybody could create a podcast nowadays. You know, it's super saturated. So just find your niche market.
Yeah. I would say, look, when you are laying on your deathbed, you may have a lot of regrets, but don't let any of those regrets be something that you did not do. Do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Anybody else?
We have some questions in the chat. I don't know.
I actually want to answer that question. I see by Inspired True Events. How do you face creative burnout? You know, that's because it's kind of my lane, you know, with mental health and everything, you know, because I faced that not that long ago. You know, I was having a really stressful period, and I was starting to like approach some burnout. And one thing that's really important is like self-care. You got, you got to take care of yourself. I know consistency is real important, but one thing to remember, you want to make sure you have a couple of episodes in the shotgun that you can always go back to and pull out when you want to take a little break. If you don't, you can always remix a couple of episodes too. You know, you can always put a couple episodes and like you can put out some short micro mini series to roll out for a while you get yourself together, and and then jump out the box a little bit. You know, you don't always have to record in an office, in a room, or wherever you record at now. You know, maybe you record outside. You know, maybe maybe you start switching up the type of guests you bring it on. You know, maybe you record by yourself. You know, in a different way. Just find ways to get inspired. You know, and meditate. You know, people laugh at meditation, but meditation, will keep you clear, keep you focused, and keep you on track. Just doing all those things, that's real important to keep that keep that brain of yours and that spirit, healthy. And remember that you're a journalist. Like you are a journalist. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not a journalist. You are.
There's a question for Howard.
Okay, so first of all, with a company like Kachava, well, I'm not going to beat them at this moment because they have a lot of finances behind them and they can just flood the market with advertising. So it's just basically what you all talked about. It's finding a niche. So when I started the supplement company, I wanted to make a supplement that was basically what I would want. But I have to consider, okay, what is something that my client is going to want? And I try to make something that everybody would like, which I don't think that was the right way to do it. So it's finding a niche and then pushing the product or pushing value to them, I should say, providing value to them, to that niche, hence the episodes I have on what I've learned in the business, supplement science, etc., providing value to them. And then ultimately the idea is that they will say, okay, I trust what Howard has to say. He provides value to me. I'm going to then buy his product. So I'm not going to beat any company like Kachava or anything like that, but I'm not looking to do that. So I'm looking to find a core audience and a core list of clients, in my niche. And that was all thanks to Harmony, the Bliss Broker, Garcia, another member of the official 5 Deep. She gave me ideas and like, hey, why don't you push towards this group of people? And then, and that's the plan as of right now.
All right. So everybody got to share. Yeah, go ahead, Adi, go ahead. I just want to make sure. Go ahead.
I just want to ask them, how did all of y'all find y'all niches? Like, how did the audiences y'all wanted to target?
Study the industry. You study how the trends of the industry, and then you understand that everybody is current event based. You get what I'm saying? Like, what happened this week? Like, do everybody want to listen to that? No. Like, like people go through life situations, and how can I come out of it? Where can I go to learn something about life itself? You get what I'm saying? And that's how you build your niche market, and then you just distribute it such. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
I found mine because I started with like my show was really based off of psychology and emotional intelligence. So that's something that affects everybody. So that's something that I was able to just throw out there. And I have people from all walks of life that view my podcast. I don't have this one demographic, because everybody can relate to psychology and emotional intelligence. So it was easy for me to find that niche audience because of that.
Mine was as I mentioned in what I was just talking about, and Harmony said, Howard, your dad, you're a middle-aged dad, for the most part what middle-aged dads have to go through. If there's something that they haven't experienced that you haven't personally gone through, then you can empathize more with them. Why don't you push towards that market? And I have not seen a lot of supplement companies, or can't think of any off the top of my head, that actually pushes towards that market. It's either towards, the really like a bodybuilder or athletes or etc. Women who want to lose weight, etc. like that. So that's how I found it. Thinking out of the box, like taking my own life, for example.
Marlon, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I was gonna say when we first started, like we said, we're just talking to different people, but we've done from a gamut from Tito Ortiz to, and I don't want to put nobody higher than anybody else, but we've done from a celebrity all the way down to somebody that nobody knows. And what happened is when we started to get people that request to come on our show, it end up being entrepreneurs, people that are growing businesses, and CEOs. So it just brought us to a spot where we weren't even trying to say, okay, that's our niche, but automatically, like Ricky said, the audience found us, and then we ran with it.
Nova, you got a question?
Yeah, I do. But they they can always DM me because we're out of time right now.
No. Answer the question. This one. After this question, this will be the last question.
Okay. So, how do I know what is the best audio? Oh, okay. YouTube. To be honest, that's really where I start off with. I just type in, I don't know, like best audio for 2023 podcasts in YouTube, and then just kind of go from there and go down the rabbit hole. And then I'll use Google to, do, let's say, StreamYard versus Restream, and see which one has better, whatever fits whatever needs that I'm looking for, and just kind of go with that. So I would just say start off with YouTube, and then go with Google, and then just take yourself down the rabbit hole, and then pick whatever works best for you.
All right.
Yeah.
I think
Anchor is free, and Anchor is pretty much what everybody kind of use for their podcast. So yeah.
Yeah, we could do this, as y'all know, all night. Like, last one for the night. The answer we were looking for was pause. Early. Pause. So I want to thank all y'all for coming out and being a part of tonight's discussion. I promise everybody's IG, Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff will be in the write-up. Is going to be on Instagram probably in the next few minutes. Everybody will get tagged. And
pause.
See how he has slang?
But that's a Philly. That's a Philly.
Yeah, I'm not getting tagged.
Yeah. That's New York. New York too. We say tag, bro. Come on.
Am I a Texan?
Yeah, you a Texan.
What do you say in Texas? Like what Texans? I don't know. I gotta live this. I don't want to say nothing too crazy. What would you say? I don't know. What would we say in Texas? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in Texas as well. I don't know. There's something that my friend Mark Jeffrey always says about Texas, but I won't say it on here because that'll get us kicked us off. Of
There's only two things that come from Texas. You know what they are, boy.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say it.
So this was dope. We'll end the broadcast, and peace to everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. Rap season 1.
We appreciate you. Appreciate
it, man. We'll get it.
Podcast,
All right.
Great show, everybody.
Peace.